The spotlight may have dimmed decades ago, but Elvis Presley's shadow still stretches across the entire music world. He was the king, untouchable, adored, worshipped. But behind that charming grin, behind the rhinestone jumpsuits and lightning-fast fame, lived a man who struggled with jealousy, betrayal, competition, and quiet resentment. Elvis rarely said these things publicly, but privately, he had strong feelings about some of the biggest stars of his era. This is the truth behind the singers Elvis secretly disliked. And why? 1. Frank Sinatra, the legend who looked down on him. Before Elvis arrived, Sinatra ruled the music world. He was polished, classy, the voice of America. Elvis was something entirely different, louder, younger, wilder. Sinatra hated rock and roll. He once called it brutal, ugly, and degenerate. Elvis never forgot that. Privately, Elvis felt dismissed, like Sinatra didn't respect him as a musician. He hated the idea that the old guard saw him as a threat rather than an artist. Even after they performed together in 1960, the bitterness lingered. Elvis smiled on stage, but behind closed doors, he admitted Sinatra's early insults left a wound that never fully healed. For Elvis, Sinatra represented everything he had to fight against, and everything that wanted him to fail.
Number 2. Pat Boone, the clean-cut rival who profited from his style. Pat Boone was everything Elvis wasn't. Neatly pressed white suits, soft Christian image, safe for TV, zero controversy. And Elvis hated it. Boone recorded watered-down versions of black R&B hits Elvis loved. He made millions playing it safe, while Elvis was labeled dangerous. Boone once joked, "Elvis shook, I didn't have to." To Elvis, that was infuriating. Boone capitalized on a system that tried to silence everything raw and real. Elvis resented how the industry promoted safe singers while criticizing him for being authentic. Pat wasn't his enemy, but he embodied a system Elvis deeply disliked. 3. Bobby Darin, the show-off who tried to out-Elvis Elvis. Bobby Darin was talented, sharp, and unbelievably ambitious. Elvis respected him, but he didn't like him. Darin copied Elvis's stage movements, hairstyle, and swagger. He told reporters he wanted to be bigger than Elvis. Elvis hated arrogance. He hated copycats even more. Darin's attempts to mimic him, sometimes openly, sometimes subtly, made Elvis feel violated, like someone was trying to steal his identity. He kept his frustration quiet, but close friends later revealed Elvis never trusted Darin and considered him a show-off trying too hard to be the next king. 4. The Beatles' early years, the band that challenged his throne. Elvis admired the Beatles, eventually. But when they exploded in 1964, he felt threatened. The press called them the new kings. Teenagers screamed louder for them than they ever had for Elvis. Elvis hated the comparison, hated the idea of being replaced, hated that a new generation worshipped someone else. He never admitted it publicly, but friends said Elvis felt burning jealousy when the Beatles dominated the world. Only later, after meeting them, did he warm up and appreciate their talent. But in those early years, he saw them as the greatest threat to his legacy. 5. Jerry Lee Lewis, the wild rival whose ego drove Elvis crazy. Jerry Lee Lewis was chaos wrapped in piano strings, and he wasn't shy about his feelings. He once screamed, "There ain't but one king, and it's me." Elvis was furious. Jerry bragged constantly, claiming he was the real star, the real revolutionary, the real deal. Elvis quietly hated his arrogance and unpredictable behavior. They respected each other musically, but personally, it was rivalry and tension, not friendship. Jerry Lee's attitude hit Elvis where it hurt, his pride. 6. Dean Martin, the crooner who mocked rock and roll. Dean Martin joked often that rock music was noise. He rolled his eyes at Elvis fans. He dismissed youth culture as a fad. Elvis grew up idolizing Dean, so when his hero mocked the music he loved, he felt betrayed. Elvis hated being dismissed as just a kid with a guitar. He hated that older singers didn't take him seriously. Behind the fame, Elvis felt insecure, deeply insecure about being respected as a real vocalist. Dean Martin's attitude cut deeper than he ever admitted.
7. Tom Jones, the friend who became a secret competitor. This one is complicated. Elvis loved Tom Jones. He admired his voice. He enjoyed his company. But he also hated his rise. Tom Jones began dominating the Vegas scene in the late 1960s, stealing Elvis's spotlight. Women screamed for him the way they once screamed for Elvis. And the worst part? Tom sang with a power Elvis feared he was losing. He never said a bad word publicly, but privately Elvis admitted he was jealous and afraid Tom was becoming what he could no longer be. Their friendship was real. So was the rivalry.
Elvis wasn't hateful by nature. He was sensitive, emotional, and deeply afraid of fading away. Every grudge, every rivalry, every quiet frustration came from the same place. He wanted to matter. He wanted to be respected. He wanted to be remembered. And in the end, he was. Today, Elvis Presley remains a legend. The men he disliked, resented, or feared, most of them are remembered because he existed. Even the king had his enemies. But his legacy, unlike theirs, still shines untouched.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.